Hello and welcome to the Comic Atlas. This is a series where we talk about the complete history of comic book characters. In this episode, we're going to continue talking about Matt Murdock, Daredevil. In the first issues of Daredevil, we see Matt Murdock wearing his original yellow costume with a few modifications over the issues. We are introduced to some villains that will sprung out semi-regularly during the first years of publication of the blind superhero. We go right into issue 2, in which Daredevil enters the rest of the Marvel Universe as he has interactions with other personalities. The story starts with the Thing entering Nelson and Murdock's office abruptly. As it turns out, word is spread out about the new attorneys and the Fantastic Four want Matthew to work on the list for the Baxter building. All this is spoken to a surprised Foggy and Karen as Matt isn't on the office. Meanwhile, Daredevil goes into action as he tackles a group of car thieves. It turns out they were working under the wing of Electro, the Master of Electricity. Surprisingly, the paths of both men cross later as both go to the Baxter building with very different motivations. A fight starts and Electro defeats Daredevil. He is sent into space in a rocket ship, but Matt is mysteriously very good at driving them as he returns to Earth. He steals a horse and hitches a ride on a chopper to come facing Electro once again. This time they make their way to a theater where Electro is deceived by the hero. At the end of the issue, the Fantastic Four resent the service of Murdock as he doesn't seem to put on the work for them. Next, Daredevil fights the Owl. A strange man with a big figure comes to the financial center of New York. We're talking about the Owl. He pretty much tells his accountant that he's the fall guy for his dubious schemes and none will take notice of him. As the man commits suicide, the police investigate the Owl and tell him to get a lawyer. With his hubris, he resolves that any lawyer can get him out of jail. So he randomly picks Nelson and Murdock to represent him. As the Owl fails to show up to court, Daredevil knows it's his job to bring him up to justice. We see the Owl in his hideout, bickering with some of his underlings for the night. Meanwhile, Matt added a little red hood to his costume. The next day, Matt and Karen mention the possibility of him getting an eye surgery to recover his sight as Daredevil senses the Owl. Changing into his costume, it's revealed that the Owl is in the next office in Matt's building. As they fight, the Owl takes Karen hostage and Daredevil surrenders. Both are jailed in giant bird cages inside the Owl hideout. Murdock is able to escape and saves Karen as the Owl approaches both of them. Daredevil accidentally refers to Karen by her name and they escape whilst fighting the Owl. In the end, the battle is inconclusive as both the Owl and Matt and Karen escape. In issue 4, we come face to face with the Purple Man, also known as Kilgrave. We see his ability to convince people to act as he pleases when he robs a bank and escapes capture by simply talking to his victims. He later goes to jail and the judge appoints Matt as his attorney. But when he gets to jail alongside Karen, the Purple Man simply tells the guard to let him out and Karen to come with him. Matt seems to be immune to his powers as he is blind and promptly goes on the pursuit. When he catches up to the villain, he orders a crowd to go after the yellow hero, ripping his red hood in the process. When he escapes, Daredevil realizes that Kilgrave powers only function with him nearby. We cut out to Matt and Foggy as the former explains the situation. By his reaction, Matt deduces that Foggy loves Karen as much as he himself does. At the same time, Kilgrave is recruiting muscle in a gym and making a luxurious hotel his home base. Realizing the Purple Man had broken the law, Matt figures he has to catch him on tape confessing his wrongdoings. As Daredevil raids the Purple Man's hotel, we learn that the criminal has gained his powers by being covered in a strange purple nerve gas. By bluffing with his billy club, our hero is able to save Karen Page. A final battle starts, but the Purple Man is trapped by Matthew in a white sheet as every person that came under Kilgrave's control returns to normal as he is arrested. We end the issue with the scene of both Karen and the New York public adoring the man without fear. In issue 5, Daredevil faces the Matador. To be honest, there is nothing of note here. The Matador is this bullfighter fallen from grace who beats Daredevil before getting his ass beaten in the rematch. The only things of note that happen in this chapter is that we learn Foggy's intention to propose to Karen, and Matt changes his chat signal from a D to a DD. The final chapter of Yellow Daredevil is issue number 6, where the hero faces the Fellowship of Fear. We open with a shooting for a film gone wrong as the Ox and the Eel, two cannon fodder villains, are wrecking stuff. Daredevil comes to the rescue, but he is repelled by their boss, Mr. Fear, who uses a small pellet with gas that makes Matt run away in fear. As the media and Foggy bash Daredevil for seemingly turning coward, we learn the backstory of Mr. Fear. Named Sultan Drago, he is a wax artist and scientist who accidentally discovered a formula that provokes extreme fear in living beings. Deciding to use his formula for evil, he makes a costume and becomes Mr. Fear, recruiting the Eel and the Ox to complete his machinations. As a new Daredevil expose is opened, Matt, Foggy and Karen are baited into attending. Late at night, a fully costumed Daredevil returns as he recognizes the Ox looming around during the day. A fight starts between Matt, the Eel, and the Ox. Things get even more crazy when Foggy gets suspicious and returns to the museum to uncover the identity of Mr. Fear, just as he is knocked down by the Ox. Foggy is taken to the hospital and Daredevil prevents the three villains from silencing him. The next day, a final battle occurs in the Wax Museum. Matt outsmarts the fear gas by standing near an exhaust fan. Finally, Daredevil beats the three villains, rehabilitating his superhero image in the process. To be honest, during this run there is a lot of silly stuff that just makes Daredevil look ineffective, especially his confrontation with the Matador. The best stories were the ones with the Purple Man and Mr. Fear. It's quintessential Silver Age stories and dialogues. So, if you don't enjoy them too much, it's going to be a drag to read these issues. A very important part of these early issues is the love triangle between Daredevil or Matt, Foggy, and Karen. Just remember, Karen loves Daredevil and likes Matt. Matt loves Karen, and nobody loves poor Foggy. It's still a very experimental stage for the man without fear, as both his appearance and villains are shifting by the issue. On the next issue, his image will change once again and it will pretty much stay the same for the next 3 decades. Anyway guys, that's all for today. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe below. This is the Comics Atlas and I wish you all a nice existence.